Well, welcome everybody. Jack graciously has connected us, so we can begin. So there's quite a busy agenda actually for today, and so I've got a couple of remarks to make just at the beginning, but I'll keep it brief so we can get moving on things. First, thank you, Jack. Nice to meet you. This is Bruce Lonnie's son, by the way, the head of the planning department. That famous Bruce Lonnie. So I didn't tell you I said hi.
I will.
And also, let's see, I would just say, I told most of you, but Davin is not here today because he's off cycling in Bordeaux. On his adventures with he said it's a bike and barn adventure with a bike during the day and then party in a barn. I mean,
Really?
James.
We're going to tour of France.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, okay, you know, they.
Yeah, the e-bike.
But he was in Ireland last week for the British Open, so this, Davin does this, he goes off, he and I have that sort of thing in common about being adventurous. When he goes off on, last year he went to northern Spain, before that he was in Idaho, so these arduous biking trips, so he will be back at the next meeting, and so Mike graciously is standing in. Jack of all trades and master of none.
I'm all about paper, I'm sorry.
Okay. And then last, Holly Overdyke, who I thought she was coming, she said she was going to, but something happened. She's from Block Realty Group, the people who are interested in hangar issues. So she may come kind of late, but if she does, we'll introduce her then. And then last but not least, we'll have Bev Higgins here with us, and she's the last of the three new authority members just to join in a formal sense of being here in the room with us. So, and Beth was on the authority for a term some years ago, ending in 2019. So lots of change since then, and she'll be keen to do a lot of catch up. So those are the introductory remarks. And then if we can just move through the, you know, the agenda that's sort of routine business. At the end, we might have some extra time to do some extra talking, and Mike wants to see a couple of us off to the meeting anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you like, if you had a chance to look at the minutes, Gavin sent you those early. He sent all of the materials early before he went away on his adventure. So if you have any corrections, changes, questions, or whatever about the
Just since March.
Oh, yeah, that's supposed to be. Yeah, okay. Anything else?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the last.
Okay, with the one amendment. Yes. Okay, so Beth. And who was it? Sunny? Okay. All in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Abstentions? No? Okay. Done. All right. Okay, one of the things that Davin alerted us to was that the financial data were not fully available yet, so I guess Mike will just deal with those next time, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this though, that, we had, you know, June, July are just slow, you know, this name was slow for us. Charters aren't moving and, you know, school's not in session. But, we had some fairly good, you know, business revenues and, you know, Keith and I, you know, we're always hoping, you know, we reach that $1 million mark, you know, pure profit. So it's a possibility, you know, we'll just have to see how everything checks out. But we sent in all the pre-numbers, you know, that we had to finance and it just wasn't quite ready, you know, when Davin left. Yeah. So, so anyway, I won't wait till next month's meeting. I'll send it out to you as soon as I get it. And then if you have any questions, you know, about it, because that is our, you know, the end of our fiscal year. The new year starts July.
Did you have any, I'm sorry.
No, I'm finished.
Did you have any, big major expense items or just pretty much a normal month, basically like we've been running?
Well, let's see. No,
You think of kind of throwing it off?
yeah, I'm thinking July, we got ready for our FA inspection, which I'll talk about.
Mhm.
And there weren't really any major things we had to do for that, but that would have been in July, but June, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything major. We tried to work on our fuel truck a little bit. Trying to think, there might have been, can't remember what month that was, but one of our air conditioners went out. We had to fix that. That's kind of, nothing's cheap with air conditioning, but. Yeah, so I don't know. You just want me to go into the?
Yeah, so are you gonna send them, we can send them out when you get them, but
Yeah.
we'll wait for review.
Yeah.
In August.
Yes, but if for some reason you have any questions about it, definitely,
Back.
before.
Okay.
Also, Mike, I'm just as a point on the, B, the capital improvement projects, I don't know if you want to just wait till we're going through the strategic plan, since a lot of that overlaps, or how do you want?
I could, some of them are not on the strategic
Okay.
plan, I
Whatever you
think,
think is,
and the ones that aren't. Well, I tell you what, if you want, I'll just go ahead and do it now.
yeah.
And then we can just pass that on when we get to that point. That way I won't forget anything. So I guess first, let me just talk about the FA inspection, even though it's not really a capital improvement. We had our FA inspection, annual FA inspection last week. No, the week before, I'm sorry. And it went real well. The FAA, they're always gonna find something, and that's fine. We want them to find something. And when they get here, we always tell them, that we know that you're not here to, bust our chops or anything. You're really here, as they say, to help us.
Was this the first time a new person too?
Well, this person was here last year, but she wasn't qualified. She was.
So this was her first one for.
Yes, it was. Yeah, but and this girl, I tell you, this lady is, she knows her stuff. She really does, and she's very smart. But she's fair, and that's all you can ask for. And then we taught her some things, and she taught us some things, and she admitted that, and that's what it's all about, teaching some stuff. And she did, so that was good. And I like the instructors or inspectors that can do that. So we had probably 6 items. One was, personnel, said 2 ARF members, failed to complete the required movement area training for 2025. So whenever we have, anybody that wants to drive out, inside our fenced area or gate, they have to go through, driver's training. And we teach them, how to communicate with the tower. And, it's a 30-minute thing, but most of them are pilots, and whoever goes in our gates, not somebody shouldn't be out there. So it doesn't take long, but we just kind of give them the run of the area, and where everything is. But with that said, so our ARF personnel, we have 2 ARF full-time ARF personnel that instruct those classes. Well, they weren't on the list because they're instructors, but they should have been on the list. So she wrote us up on that, and so we quickly put them on the list. And it's closed now. Before she left, it was closed.
Okay.
And then safety areas, so concrete base not maintained at grade level and bolts more than 3 inches on a concrete base. So all of our lights and signs out there are on a concrete base. And at one point in time, it used to be where they didn't want to see the concrete more than 3 inches above the ground. And then there was an incident a couple of years ago, I don't know if you remember, where the United jet turned off the runway, went into the grass, and it hit one of those concrete bases, and it folded the landing gear. So ever since then, they've changed it where, they want it flush. They want it, the asphalt, the concrete and the ground to be flush with each other. So most of all of our stuff out there is that way, except for 2 areas. One of the areas was where we fixed it by, troweling some concrete. And that's probably been 5 years ago, and the concrete was being broken up a little bit, from being so old. So, that was one of the places, and then the other place was, another sign that was just put in with the Alpha project, and it was about this far above grade. And, so we're gonna go back and, we're gonna level that out, smooth it down. And then there's bolts that bolt the sign to the concrete that's about this high, but it's under the sign. Like the sign is here and it's under it, but still, if an airplane hit it, it would take the sign down and then run over those bolts. So the bolts have to really be about half an inch, I guess, tall. So we'll just cut those off. So it was really just that one sign that was an issue, which we took care of, really. Marking, sign and lighting. Anyway, 927 markings obscured by mold and dirt. It's not a large area. I guess it's probably the size, the length of this room, I guess, from end to end, where there's a section, going down the runway, there's white markings, on the edge of the runway. And so, right up against the grass is where it's really, really, easy to get mold and mildew and stuff. So, we try to maintain that. And we knew about this, and we were gonna get to it, but, she thought it was pretty much time to do it. So she wrote us up on that. And it's just a little, what it looks like is of course white paint with black mold on it, basically. But you can still see the white, but it's getting to the point where it really needed to be done. So she got us on that. And all of these items, though, we have time to do. That particular one we haven't done yet, but we're gonna wait. She gave us till October 10th to do it. So we'll have it definitely done by then. Operations, handling and storing of hazardous substance material. It says we're in compliance. Where the compliance was in our truck. One of our avgas trucks, there's a placard inside the truck that says no smoking. We have the placard there, but it was starting to peel off a little bit. So we just took it off and put a brand new one on, and that was closed too.
So she's really freaking.
Oh, they go over everything. It's everything. I mean, when you think of all the things that they look at, the approaches, the lights, the signs, the asphalt, the pavement, nighttime, all the lights we have, you can't have more than so many out. We had a fire drill, she went through, one day. Well, what they do, I think it was the second day, she'll go out there, anywhere in the airport, and then she'll just, out of nowhere, just say, okay, we're gonna do a fire drill. And, so at that point in time, our fire people have to be ready. They only have 3 minutes to get out there and disperse foam or water. And, get suited up and all that. So they got out there in, I want to say a minute, almost two, it was less than 2 minutes. I want to say a minute, 57 seconds. And, anyway, so yeah, it was, I saw them go, but I didn't expect her to do it at that time, it was usually later on in the day. So I'm in my office and I'm looking, and there goes the fire truck. Oh my goodness, is she doing that now? And sure enough, they were going down there and, but it was successful. They did a good job on that. But they did also do, all of our, training, paperwork, for fueling and ARF and, it's just everything. And, everything out there they look at.
Are we required to disaster drill?
So we're not required to have an annual disaster drill because we're not we don't have an airline. If we did, we would be every 2 years, which we had one, it might be every 3, I think so. But, if we had, we just had one about a year and a half ago. We did one, maybe 2 years. But, what we are required to do is have a tabletop every year. And we have that normally around August, which we're gonna have ours in August. And so that is a requirement, for our Part 139 right now. But she was glad to see that we did a full-blown, disaster drill. And it probably wouldn't hurt us to do another one, I would say probably in another year or two at least. Then, self-inspection program, she wants us to start, right now, we do inspect our, the airport, the runways, taxiways, light signs, everything. We do that in the morning and we do one in the evening. And, we have a list of all the things we need to check. But what they want us to do is, during construction, when we have construction out there, they want us to, the FAA wants us to, do an evening inspection after the construction crew leaves. And we have a list that we need to look for as well. So they want us to start doing that. And we were written up on that, but next year they'll see we're doing it and then, it won't be a big deal. But, basically when we start the Bravo project, let's see, she had, okay, that one's closed. So that's not even an issue anymore. But, I think she just wants us to know that that needs to be done. Public protection, airport perimeter fence does not adequately prevent, unauthorized persons. So, as you know, we've fenced just about this whole airport, except for maybe 2,000 feet, which is, let's see, it's out there. I can't remember the name of that road, but it's off, as you come into the main entrance, the road on the right, this escapes me, but so that road all the way pretty much to around where the, armory is. And just that little section right there is what's left to do fencing. And now, we can only do what we can do when we get FAA or state funding. So we got FAA funding one year. We did the majority of this airport. We got some state funding left over from our runway 220 project that we finished up that over there near Lowe's. And then this is the only thing left now. And what we're hoping to do, talking to GDOT, is we're hoping to have money left over from the Bravo project that we're about to start. And then that should cover the rest of it. So she gave us and she knows this, and the reason she put this in, because she and I talked about it, is not to ding us, but to help us get funding. Because the FAA and GDOT said, yeah, we know it needs to be done. We're gonna try to get you some money. So with this in here, it's priority now, so they're more likely to, help us. Get the money. Yeah, so that's where they come in and help us, really.
So Mike, that's the section where unless, you had any, work done under the fence where I know there was some gaps.
Yeah.
Under the fence, I guess they're still there.
Yeah, there's,
That'll be good to get that.
it would be very good, because all it is park fence. What, 7 years ago, when I got here, 7 years ago? That's all we had here was farm fence. It was nothing but farm fence, except for the, section where we extended the runway out. There was some adequate fencing out that way. But since then, we've got all this other than that, so once we get that and talk about wildlife control, that's really helped. What we've got out
I was
there,
wondering about that.
yeah, it has really, really helped, because the USDA helps us maintain, wildlife. And, they've come to us and said, this reduced it dramatically. So I was really happy to hear that.
So do you have instances where you've had wildlife coming through those gaps?
No, not that I'm aware of. I wouldn't say don't. I just say it's not as much as,
Yeah.
I will tell you the story, and I probably shouldn't.
Oh, okay. You wanna go offline?
No, we're good. During construction, and this is a big deal, during construction, construction workers are supposed to close the fences and gates, They bring in equipment, you're supposed to close that gate. Well, I think this was the Alpha project we were working. And they didn't close it. Anyway, next thing I know, here comes this cowboy on a horse with a rope doing this, and he's coming through. And there's a cow out there, close to our taxiway. And, it came from over here where they have the livestock.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, what in the heck is going on? And that's what it was. He was lassoing that cow to bring it back, and, but anyway, it didn't get on any runaways or live taxiways, so that was good. But it happens, I
Did you
guess.
tell her that story?
No. No. But really, that's it. It's really minor stuff, in our book, because a lot of it's been closed out. I guess the only thing that will take a little time is the fencing, but we'll get that done. And then we'll be good to go. But we were happy with it, with the results. Any questions on that? So Taxiway Bravo, we had, we have a notice to proceed, and it's gonna be August 4th, that's when it'll start. The mayor signed the contract last week with, ER Snem. And so that's all done, the conform contract. It's gonna be about, goodness, I might get this wrong, 150, I might get that, 105 days, maybe 130 days, project. But anyway, we are working pretty close with, the tower. We're working close with Russ and operations and, in trying to make sure that none of this affects football season. The good thing is that the runways will not be affected. The taxiway Bravo is the second, is the taxiway to the second runway. So, we do park aircraft on 220, the second runway. But we're hoping that the major games seem to be, later on. And we're hoping that all of that will be kind of completed. Most of it will be completed by the time those major games hit, here. But, it all depends on the weather, and any delays that ERSL might have with equipment, or maybe their subs. It's just, those are the items that we normally see. But we're really hoping that, that things go well. If all, I mean, if the only thing I see that could go wrong is that we just can't, we can land people, and drop them off, but they can't park. And so they'll just have to fly back out, to another airport or something and park there for a while and then come back and get their passengers when the game's over. Just a little inconvenience, but, I kind of see why, a lot of this pavement has been old, it's 40+ years. And this Bravo project will complete, everything out there, to brand new, the main runway that was done, when you were on the board. We had, Alpha done, 220 done, Bravo's being done. And then if we can get Bravo done, then everything out there will be brand new. And it's such a hassle to deal with that, when you got football season too. But at least it'll be done, and then we can move on and not worry about football season ever again, with the construction getting in the way. But
Are they gonna grind it, or are they gonna tear it up and move it?
so that's a good question. So what they're gonna do is, so on the south side of the main runway, they're going to, do a total reclamation. They're gonna break down to the dirt, just like they did the main runway and Alpha and 220. They're gonna bring it all the way down to the dirt, build it back up with, good solid dirt, concrete mix. And then, some stone, and then asphalt on top of that. So it'd be hard, it'd be tough. Now, the north side of, the main runway, all they're gonna do is a 2-inch, mill, and then a 2-inch overlay. I don't think it's 4-inch or 4-inch. I think it's 2-inch and 2-inch. So that one should go pretty quick, that side. And, but that kind of moves to the next subject, which is our ramp. So the ramp, in front of this building, in front of the firehouse, and in front of the commercial building, RS&H is now our consultant engineer.
Okay.
So RS&H, we're talking about starting, design on the ramp. And, which is really needed. And what we'll do, when we do the design, we're gonna move the helipads, because what we wanna do is extend the ramp in front of, this area out, as close as we can get to taxiway alpha, legally. And, that'll give us more room to park airplanes on the ramp. And then we'll move the helipads to another location, probably closer to the commercial terminal, out in that grass area. So we're talking about doing that as well. Some upcoming projects, not, it's on our CIP, but we're probably gonna look at is probably to do a parallel to Bravo, once we get Bravo done, a parallel to Bravo, which is where it comes out right now, but it would be a straight shot. And then we can also pave the grassy area, and that'll be a lot more parking too, especially during football season. And then also pave around the T hangers, which is really needed as well. But anyway, so those are future projects that we're not really talking about yet, but yeah.
I just want to clarify, because I couldn't remember, and I think you spoke to it, but, so the project we're about to start, we're not gonna create a parallel all the way up to the end, that's the future.
Yeah, that one's the future. I was hoping.
How far out are we thinking?
So that one might be probably 3 years down the road.
That'll resolve a lot of issues.
Yeah, it will, it will. And I think that's why, to answer your question, the 2-inch, milling, 2-inch overlay, I don't think they wanted to get into that expensive, reclamation, total reclamation, because in 3 years, we'll probably do that. We'll probably do that parallel. And so that's the reason for that.
So they went out to excavate and
Mhm. No,
just resume some.
yeah.
So like, what are the weight ratings that we're working on now on all the, when you're talking about the future ones? for the
Right.
ramps and for the
Yeah.
taxiways?
So what we can handle, right now is, like a A321. We've handled 737 MAX,
Yeah.
the 800s. And we've been getting them in too, charter, prior to COVID, it was the smaller turbojets, that were coming in for like the basketball seasons and whatnot. But when COVID came, then they wanted to, spread everybody out, and they were bringing in the bigger jets. But that's because we were able to, because we did the main runway, yeah. Once the word got out on that main runway, oh yeah, we were getting calls like, hey, can we land there now? And yeah, you can. And so that increased our revenue big time, because, the landing fees are more, ramp fees are more, our handling fees are more.
So I saw on the shift about 2022, 23.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
huge shift in those funds can.
Yeah, oh, it's really helped a lot. And, but yeah, that's the size that we can get. We get a lot of,
So we're doing that for the taxiways too, so they're gonna be
Mhm.
able to handle 737s.
yes, yes. So with the taxiways, what we've done, we've created larger fillets, as
Right.
the radiuses. So it's not so
So they're gonna
tight.
be able to make those turns off a 100
Yeah,
wide runway. which they
Yeah.
didn't do before, right?
right. So all of Alpha, which handles, handles the main runway, all of Alpha has the bid radius. Yeah, we made sure that was in there. And then, of course, like you're talking about, the weight, that's all in there too, because that was, total reclamation. We brought that down to the dirt and did a soil, cement soil mix. So that was even tough on its own. And then you put the gravel, the stone on top of that, and then the asphalt on top of that, and it's solid. Yeah. Then, let's see, talk about the tower. No, I'm gonna talk about the parking lot first. So we had the design meeting, a couple weeks ago on the parking lot, and, we're about, almost to 100% on the design for the parking lot. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is that, there's no funding for it, which I kind of had an idea that there wouldn't be funding for it, but we wanted to be ready, when an airline comes. And, And so the airline, the type aircraft that are, that I've been talking to, it's not the small stuff, it's like Embraer 145s, holds about 145 people, the A320s, that kind of thing. So they're bringing, I'm not gonna say they'd fill them up, but they'll bring enough people where you're gonna need some parking. And, anyway, so I'm getting ready, for that, in the future, when that does happen, at least we'll have adequate parking. Because when we did that passenger service here, it was like 9 seats, 14 seats, and you could easily handle it with what we got, but not with these aircraft that they want to fly in nowadays.
Like in plans for like the footprint. Has there been any consideration in looking at bringing airline where you might be able to put a facility?
Yeah,
Even though it might be small.
yeah.
And how that might impact the roadway system out here.
That's a good question.
And then
So, we have some property. If you're looking at that map, it's on the south side. Can you point to that, Keith?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that green, all that grass, all that tree area right there. Yeah, right there, all that tree right there.
So, hey,
Parcel A, yeah.
Yeah.
And so right now, that's on our airport layout plan as being airport property. I'm not saying that the county couldn't or wouldn't take it away at one point in time, but right now that is ours that we have on there to do things with. Now, that property is where the commercial terminal was gonna go prior to, losing service, and then they decided to put it over on this side. So there's two things that are out there right now that are really, good for that area. And one of them is the small air cargo like you're talking about. But the other thing is the eVTOL. I've been on several committees in Atlanta at Georgia Tech with the FAA and GDOT and a lot of the manufacturers, and they got a manufacturer there, here in Georgia, that's building them. And, matter of fact, I had lunch with them too. And, at this, where we got kind of a brainstorming session, I guess, and we met several times because when they do come online, there's gonna have to be some regulations and there's not any right now, regulations and standards and all of this. So I was on that. And, but that would be a fantastic place right there to have that. It could be cargo. It could be those hopping to Atlanta, it could be those, just hopping regional, it could be anything like that. So that area, I think, would be ideal, for something like that in the future. And it could be cargo, it could be small cargo doing
I've just
something.
been, haven't been able to handle cargo, but possibly mail or an airline would be
Yeah,
the big bullet points. So why you should come.
yeah. Oh, I agree. Now, as far as right now, yeah, I think, on a small scale, on this side of the airport, yeah.
well, if you were, intending on going ahead with that, where would you get the funding?
Well, that's something too. I'm not quite sure where funding is, for that.
Yeah.
I know the feds have some funding, but, things are kind of up in the air right now with a lot of things, but anyway,
Have you investigated all, I saw that we finished paying off the hangars now, so we finished the bonds from the current two hangars that we did 25 years ago. So I guess I finished that 2 years, 2023 or so, those bonds were paid off.
yeah,
So something like a cargo hangar or additional T hangars that I know is up for
Yeah.
discussion because
Yeah.
it's 100%.
yeah,
So there is a demand there.
Yeah.
But also including something like this, a huge infrastructure project, that would be a great candidate for a new set of revenue bonds to throw for the
that would
airport.
be good. Yeah, then that's good money too. Yeah,
I think we'd be a great candidate, right? So we just went through that whole process
yeah.
and it went well, and I don't know the analysis on the ROI on the hangars. I don't know if anybody sat down and did that,
Mhm.
but I think it was probably a positive ROI on that
Oh, yeah.
project. So that would be a good basis for the next,
Yeah,
so I know our finance director is pretty good at coming up with, design for that. But I think that's how you should finance something like that.
yeah, that would be good. And if anything, like do the site prep too, because they can come and build it as they want. But just have site prep ready is so important too, to have that.
There's a lot of businesses here in Athens who are looking for, I know we have international, agricultural, manufacturing here, where they ship all over the world, some of these, drugs.
Yeah,
So Boulder going behind.
yes, yeah, they're huge.
And I know that they're not shipping out here because we don't have the refrigeration capability and cargo
Yeah.
capability, but I know they would love to do it.
See, that'd be great. That's something to be looked at for sure. The thing with hangars that all airports are having issues with right now, and I did put this in the new SPLOST, the one that, we're kind of working on, the newest one, was T hangars, because, back when we did, do the bonds on the T hangars, it was so easy because things were cheap, the materials were cheaper, everything was cheaper. But then after COVID, everything skyrocketed, and when we do the ROIs now, it's like, okay, you can build it, but you're gonna have to rent this thing for $800, $900 a month just to pay for the steel, the materials, the concrete, everything's so high now. And it's just the same T hanger you're gonna get out here for like $400 already built. You have to pay $800, $900. And that's where the rub comes in. GDOT was trying to get involved in doing very low interest rate loans. And I think they're getting close to doing that, where, they're gonna help pitch in some money too, to help defray that, but that's why I put T hangers into the new SPLOST, hoping that we could pay for it, some of it, maybe all of it, hopefully, with some SPLOST money and bring that price down. So, they won't have to pay, nobody's gonna rent, nobody's gonna rent an $800 hanger for the 172, just, they can't afford it. That's kind of where the airports are right now with these T hanger projects. But anyway, we're still, there's ways, to make it work.
And also that parcel A, as we all know, there's a reason to, like we say, stop the ground prep or something.
Yeah,
The county is eyeing their property as well. It's dedicated to the airport, but it's ACC property. And they're targeting, or they're looking for areas for development.
yeah,
So,
And then we'd be looking right again on these encroachment issues for, we'd say it would risk,
yeah,
our federal funding if they start, taking back, so to speak,
it would,
airport property.
it would.
we're looking for areas where we have plots to develop.
Yeah, we gotta protect that the best we can, because, look around us, we don't have a whole lot of room to build anything. And that's a good spot for us to build, a very nice, I was talking about, air cargo or the eVTOLs, I'm telling you, that's gonna happen. It's gonna
And
happen.
it's a big push for the intermodal.
Yeah,
So the whole idea of, cargo there and shipping and busing and all that kind of stuff that you can incorporate into a site like that.
yeah,
The whole transportation system here at ACC is gonna rebuild
really,
their maintenance facility that's on the docket. Well, it's necessary. Again, there's no money for it right
yeah,
now,
yeah.
but they're looking at how they're gonna do that. And so the whole concept of incorporating it intermodal,
Mhm.
even if it's cargo intermodal, that's way to hang on to that.
That'd be great. Yeah, site prep, yeah. I like that. That's good. The last thing I have is just the tower. We have the FAA, the FAA maintains our tower. It's an FAA tower. They subcontract, the controllers, C2I. And, is the company they work for. But anyway, so, it's 40-year-old tower. So the FAA came to us, I don't know how long, a year and a half maybe. And said they want to build a new tower. They're gonna build one in Macon, us, and somewhere in South Carolina. Florence, yeah, I said Florence. And so we gave them several, and I say this for you and a lot of new ones too. We gave them several, locations on the airport, about 5 locations they put them on, and they picked them out, to the one out here that's kind of near the existing parking lot, kind of where the hill is as you come in. But it's right there on the hill. And, so they want to put it there. They're working on design right now. And Mac's helping me tremendously with it too, because that's the world he worked in. But so now what they're trying to do is the tower's so tall, they can't put these radio towers, the radio antennas rather, that they would communicate from tower to the airplanes on the ground here on the tower because it's too tall. So they have to find another location for these antennas. And I gave them several sites. They need at least an acre. A lot of these sites, I just said, no, we're gonna use that in the future for revenue source, so you can't put it there. But, so what they're looking at now is you come into the airport and as you leave, when you come in, it's on your left, when you leave, it's on the right, but it's the fenced in area that has the antennas now. There's 3 antennas, 4 maybe, in that little section. So they're thinking of putting them in there, and I guess they're doing some testing, right? See if that's
That's
where
where they're gonna have to do some RF testing.
Okay.
So, from what I read, the guy sent.
Yes.
I think they're gonna try to make that work if they can. I mean, that's what I got out of it.
That's good. I was gonna confer with you because some of that's over my head, so I was gonna see what you
I
thought.
mean, clearly they wanna work with.
Yeah, they
I
do.
mean,
They do.
That's what I think.
They always have.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense from them from a cost standpoint. Too.
Yeah.
I mean, they can do that for a lot less.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they're gonna have to run fiber, as he mentioned in the memo,
Yeah.
from that site to the new tower, but that's not that big a deal.
Yeah. That's not a big deal. And we do that parking lot, they go underneath that. Well, they'll probably build that for the parking lot though now, it seems. But anyway, so. one that's 160.
You can
That's
count,
all we
you can count at least one of them being 160.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. And the thing is with Texas, you know, they fly these big jets and, then they take up a lot of room. Now, one thing we found out from the FAA when she inspected us is that we can put NOTAMs out. And notice the airman, we can put NOTAMs out stating that we're only gonna accept certain size aircraft, you know, to land at the airport. So we can do that. And because once, you know, if we don't, these big aircraft start coming in, corporate jets, take up all this room, we'll be, you know, we have to shut down, you know, we have no more room. And then the little guy can't come in, you know, so, anyway, so. It's gonna be a challenge, right? Yeah. I do have a picture I'm gonna show you. It's in my office, that I took a picture. I was hanging up on my wall. Yeah, yeah. So too.
It's ground transportation's probably.
So when I first got here, it used to be, a long time ago, they had buses here and it was Athens-Clarke County Transit. Then they're federally subsidized, so they couldn't do that anymore. That was about the time I got here. So we kind of tried to see what we could do. We hired a bus service, you know, we charged $20, I guess, you know, per person. And that worked out okay. You know, we didn't lose any money. But you know, now with Uber and Lyft, I mean, you don't have to worry about it anymore. I mean, they're calling these up, they're just zooming in, zooming out, zooming in, zooming out. So, I mean, it's working fine now without any type. Now, we do have, in this room, we'll have Hertz and some of the other rental cars, you know, it's kind of stage in here. And when they do come in, need a rental car, they just come right in here and go to their person. Keys are laid out, you know, with the names, and then, you know, here, sign this, and you got it. And it's usually out there some, but, that works out fairly good.
Have you, I'm sure you probably do this, have you ever chatted with anybody over at Augusta about what they do during?
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah,
I know they deal with a lot of this
yeah.
every year too.
We talked to a lot of folks. I got a buddy who manages the airport in Ohio, you know, and he used to manage the Cullum Airport. He went up there. Yeah, he got initiated pretty quick too last year. But because he was calling me actually about it. But then, you know, Tuscaloosa,
Yep.
we talked to them a lot. Who was it? Oklahoma, that airport manager there. Yeah, he called me up because that's when SEC started going there, you know, and he said, I don't know what to expect. I said, well, get ready. Get ready. And then also Augusta, you know, so Russ has been here, you know, operations. He's been here 20 years plus, but he, through his time, he would go over there and help them out, you know.
That's right.
So he's very familiar with how they do it and operate. So he's incorporated a lot of that. But it's interesting. I know Beth knows, but the way we normally do it, you know, the tower works with this person. So if an airplane's coming in, they'll ask, you know, are you gonna be staying with us or are you going back out? Well, if they're gonna stay with us, then we're on the radio too, so we hear it. So they'll tell us, okay, you got 3 in line coming, you know, they'll need to be parked, they'll be with you. And then one's gonna be, you know, taxiing back out. So we'll look for them. We got a truck that says follow me, you know, so they follow us. Depending on what size aircraft they are, you know, single engine, twin, corporate jet, whatever. But we'll split them off, you know, and they'll go and park to where they're supposed to park. But we have a fuel truck, a jet truck or an avgas truck in that location, and we'll pull right up to them and we'll ask if they need fuel. A lot of times they do. So we'll get fuel, put fuel in there right away. We'll radio it down to, you know, to our customer service here. So during game day, we have 3 people in customer service, one constantly on that radio, you know, relaying to them and you know, making notes of the VIN number on the aircraft and how much they got. Then when they come in, you know, because we have vans that will transport them, you know, to the front of the terminal. When they get out, they pay for their fuel, they go on to the game. That way, when they come back, everything's done. you know, so they can just leave. And, we have vans that bring them back to their planes too. So, we do have security, we have the sheriff's department or somebody we usually hire, you know, so I think one time we had somebody, you know, they do drink some, you know, so. Yeah, I've heard that, yeah. But they got to the little place out here, they didn't stop, they kept going, and almost got hurt by propeller. So we got the sheriff's department out here, you know, hold them back, you know, and don't let them go until that van's ready to take them to their plane. So,
How do you check that they don't have a weapon?
oh, we don't. Yeah, we don't.
You trust they don't?
Well, it's their private jet, private aircraft, so it's, we don't have to do any of that. But when they get off, you know, I guess that's up to the state to figure that out. But, yeah.
Don't do that.
But, it's a fun day. I mean, if you guys want to volunteer, you know, feel free. Drive the van, whatever. Good tips.
Your first big test is at the end of September, looks like with Alabama at 7:30 at night.
Yeah, I know, and those game time, those late nights are tough because it's dark. And when it's over, we're also tired. We get, you know, we take them in the van, you got planes coming, going, they're moving everywhere. And you're zigzagging in the van, you know, trying to avoid these airplanes, you know. And it works out really well, but I mean, it can get hairy and sometimes, you know, it's a little dangerous. But it all works out. So it's fun, isn't it?
Been that guy.
Yeah.
Been that
Good
tips.
Good tips, yeah. And you know what they do? They put it all together, you know, because they share it. And I think that's admirable. They don't just take it for themselves, you know, they put it in this jar and then everybody, you know, gets a slice of it. You know, it's worked so hard that. Yeah. But, yeah, so it's a good time. But as far as marketing outreach, that's about all I have on that too.
Any questions, comments, additional things for Mike? Thank you for that long update.
Yeah. That's not a good stuff.
All right, well, we can move on and I'll be brief. The next one, all business elections in corridor. I sent you the brief update anyway, so we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. And they're just moving forward on all of the subtasks, you know, wetland stream delineation, the trail corridor survey for the trail around the edge of the runway is the main one that interests us. So that's moving forward. And then, you know, meetings with traffic engineering. And then also, you know, looking at where they want to put those pedestrian crossings. That was something that I remember learning early on in the corridor study was, you know, you may not know it, but along the Lexington Highway, it's actually very dangerous. There have been people killed and injured because they try and cross the road, particularly from the jail and the diversion center to catch a bus downtown or, you know, down to Walmart to work. And so,
Across the road, we kind of motorized wheelchair.
yeah, you know, and so it's it's not a small thing to say, where should there be pedestrian crossing with a lot of traffic, two big trucks, you know? So as we've said, you know, and then sidewalk design, these are little projects, but I do still feel, you know, it's gratifying to see if they don't spend $8 million, we'll spend it on this kind of stuff, don't just put it in someone's pocket. That happens in many countries, you know. So, and in this country, yeah, you know. So, as I always say to you, you know, we'll just keep looking, and then things will pick up again, you know, when the next round of SPLOST and T-SPLOST comes, then we'll have more work to do in terms of recommending the big projects. So, any questions or comments on those? So I'll just keep you posted as we go, you know. Okay, then if we move on to no new business this time, and then into the committee business in the committee reports. And I had noted on the agenda, you know, that and mentioned to you committee assignments, and I've spoken to all of you about that. And, why do I do this? Well, because the bylaws, you know, say section 4, or article 4, section 2 and 3, give that to the chair as one of the responsibilities. So I got together with Mike and we thought very carefully and seriously, and then we also got the input and agreement from Keith, our vice chair, on saying, well, we've got 3 new members, how can we best assign those members to one of the committees where their experience and expertise fit the best? And so bottom line is, I mean, for finance and planning, we leave it as it is in the able hands of our colleague Keith. And actually, it's a sort of a group effort because it's always sort of Mike, obviously, Davin is a kingpin in it, and then I help and give input, and then Keith. And so, you know, that's the
We
sort
already
of
have a
Keith.
team, yeah.
You know, it's not broken, don't do anything to change it. And that may change because if it, you know, eventually if there's people move through or something else, but business and finance stays the same. And then for the operating committee, you know, that David Assman, who left, was chair for a couple of years. And now Mac is our chair. And we thought that Sunny, you would be a really good fit to work on that committee, given your vast experience with all kinds of things in this community. From Coronel, lots of war stories, lots of experience with people and development issues in this community. Mac and I talked at length. He was really thrilled, you know, that you would work with him.
Plus the pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're a pilot, so, you know, we've got you on more than one count this. So I think that's actually a really very good fit. I, as chair, would be an ex officio member, so if you really need, you know, I'll tag along, so to speak. And then, we, you know, right now, we don't have any new proposals coming through. We, Matt and I talked about one that actually came through the wrong channels for a hookah lounge, down on Lexington. We'll wait to hear what happens with that one, but they didn't send it through to planning, so it's not something we have to. It's, yeah, it's a little building and they didn't really say other than what they really want to do in it, but anyway. So Sunny, you know, you would work with Mac as a member on that committee, and I think that'd be a really good, you know, a good chance to keep building that committee and keep building a good relationship with planning. Then, on air service development and marketing, you know, our colleague Bill has a very vast amount of experience working with airlines, multiple airports, all kinds of things that we felt would make you a really very outstanding chair. And then Beth, who has an interest in air service development as well, to work with you, and I would be, you know, an official member. We're sort of poised and always waiting for developments in air service development, but I think that we will agree that there's actually some really important work that needs to be done to sort of get you two ready with the content and the history that has gone before or up to now, so that if and as something develops, does that mean I have to stop talking?
Means over.
Okay, go. So the top priority is the Douglas report on the market
Yeah.
study. Even though it's a couple of years old, but it was the most recent one, and it raises some very interesting issues and concerns and recommendations. And then also that history of passenger service, which is not an academic article, but it's actually really, really interesting because it has a lot of very interesting information there. So that if and as something develops, as a committee, we'll be ready to say, well, we've got the background, we're up to date, let's go.
As a rule, do we typically have regular meetings or?
Well, we're gonna have one right after this meeting.
Yeah. Right foot, like.
Yeah. If you don't mind, do you have
In
time?
fact, I was gonna recommend the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, good, 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 good,
But
okay.
all these things, we will communicate by email, but I think it's always a good idea to sort of look at the rigid plan for a meeting every month, but, you know, basically always anticipate a fairly regular meeting where we get together and take notes and then report to the larger group at the next monthly meeting. Yeah, so that would be the plan.
I have some updates, so. I need to get
Yeah,
there.
my goal is actually that at the end of the meeting, if Ben, you, Bill, and I could just meet with him for a short time. Do you want to do it here or in your office?
We did my office.
Okay, yeah. So that's the plan, and the other thing is that these are technically interim, because this is the middle of the year, and the bylaws state that really, you know, official things need to be in January, which, you know, the misfit is always annoying. But then if we were to fix it, and then somebody leaves in the middle of the year, you've got the same problem. So what we can do is say, you know, because the bylaws also ask for an affirmative vote of at least 4 members on those, so, if we want to move ahead, I would ask for a motion to approve those memberships in these committees at this point. So Keith, okay, and Sunny, okay, so all in favor?
Mhm.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Cries for help? No? All right. So then actually what we can do in January is just confirm them, if you like, and if anybody wants to change or there's any change that's needed, then we'll do that. But there's always going to be that sort of, you know, disjuncture because of the dates. Because terms begin and end in the middle of the year, you know.
Right, so I think maybe when it's time to review the bylaws, maybe you just adjust the
Yeah.
bylaws so that you can make that adjustment
Yeah.
without going through too much to.
Yeah. But that requires getting approval by the mayor and commission, so,
The bylaws.
yeah, any change like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, we can deal with it, we just make sure that like now they're interim until they're confirmed and then they need to be changed again. Okay, just before we move on, I do think that we need to just remind ourselves about quite a serious issue given the history about procedure and protocol of these committees and with members, or all of us on the authority. And that is, you know, our wherewithal to do things has been whittled down to the point where we are an advisory recommending body only. We don't make actual overt decisions. And we don't get actively involved directly with things like planning department, for example. We know that the proper procedure is that if there's a proposal, unlike the Spooker Lounge one, which is out there circling, the proper procedure is that planning department will send Mike and Darren
Mhm.
a planning proposal that will then come to the authority, and we'll look at it and make a recommendation that goes back in. And they can override what we recommend, but we don't actually, and this did actually unfortunately occur several years ago, where an airport authority member went downtown and raised holy hell, if I may say so, and shouting at a member of the planning department. You know, we don't get actively directly involved. The protocol is that we are an advisory and recommending body. And so we undertake, you know, to review and discuss, learn about, and then make a recommendation if that's asked for. Same with passenger, you know, business or air service development, if you like. We need to be very careful about not going out on a limb individually. We do not have the authority to do that. Not now. The person that does the negotiating and the wheeling and dealing is Mike. All right. And you may secondarily work with Doug Blissett, the consultant, but we as members of the authority don't go out individually and take it upon ourselves to contact airlines or airline personnel or anybody else. We wait for the director to give us the information. It's caused a lot of trouble in the past, and so we just need to be, I think, mindful of that as we move forward, what the protocol is. So that's the end of that one, and as I said, we'll have a short meeting after the end of this. Okay. Having said that, that's actually the end of the formal agenda, unless there's some other business that you want to discuss or bring up. At one point, when Holly said she was probably going to come, we thought we might have some discussion about hangar issues, but that'll be probably next time.
We have the strategic plan review.
We have that, and I've forgotten about it.
Oh, okay.
And it's sitting right here.
You had that.
Right. Sorry, Keith. No, it's not the end of the agenda. It's only the end of that section.
Oh.
Yeah, Keith always does this for the benefit of Beth and Bill. it's sunny. Every 3 months, Keith takes the lead on saying, well, what are the updates we need in the strategic plan? And, we just quickly go through those. So we can do that, and then if there's an ops report, we'll have that, and then we'll go through. So sorry about that, I was jumping ahead.
It's all right. So just a little preview, this strategic plan, we started doing this a few years ago. And it is, it's meant to support the city's goals. So we use kind of goal roll down, as somebody call it, to create this. So it supports the city's goals as well as efforts that Mike and the airport needs to do to be successful. But you'll see a number of these that are, kind of helps support with the city. Like Diane said, we review this once a month. Mostly Mike is giving the updates. I'm just kind of prompting as we go through, asking questions. Y'all feel free to ask questions as we go through this. This is intended to keep us on target with measured things where we can measure or things we need to be achieving. And also the way it works as far as updating, we will update, when we have these meetings, we update statuses such as completion dates or things like that. But we really, we normally don't update unless there's a significant plan. We don't update the strategies on the left-hand side there, what it is that we're working on, unless Mike has some updates. Now, the city is gonna be in their, let's say, process, Mike, with the next fiscal year, having potentially, it could be in about another year where we may make some major plans changes
Yeah.
to this as the city goes through their.
Yeah, it's been a
strategic
while.
plan.
We did this. I think you bet, weren't you, that one Saturday? That's kind of where all this came from. And then, yeah. And so we have updated it, through the years. But I think there's gonna be a major overhaul. That's what I heard. Now, it's been a while, but that's when Blaine was here, I think. Anyway, there would be a major overhaul on this, in about a year.
From the city's perspective.
Yeah,
And then also
yeah.
you've got the airport, it's gonna be going under, what did you call that, over the next year? That you've got
Master plan.
master plan.
Oh, the master plan, yeah.
Master plan too,
Yeah,
that could
yeah,
affect
yeah.
things for the airport.
Sure,
So,
good, yeah.
anyway, just
Yep.
some introductory things about it. Any questions before we go through? Feel free to ask questions. So goal number one, enhance airport infrastructure according to the capital improvement plan, and so forth. And then we mentioned each of these goals, which of the ACC goals in a separate document these support. And then we've got, under that, you'll see we have the strategy numbers. We'll have a few strategies. And then initiatives under strategies. So it's the goal, and then under that are strategies and then initiatives. So first one there, strategy 1.1 is repave and improve runway 220 taxiways. Mikey, we were kind of updating some about this earlier. So on those 4 items, any updates you want to give, especially?
I'm glad to see that. I forgot we had the design, terminal apron, on there, but, yeah, so that's good. But it all looks good.
In strategy 1.2 is clear obstructions and install airport perimeter fencing. You were discussing that earlier, where we got about another 1,000 feet to complete.
Yeah, that'd be the next bullet point. Really, that one's completed, but the initiative 122.
Yeah.
Fencing, yeah. Is
Yeah,
that what you just said? I'm sorry.
yes.
Okay, yep, the fencing, right. So we have that yet to complete, right?
So still looking at maybe about a half a year away, 6 months potentially.
Yeah, probably 6 months, yeah.
Okay. Then, strategy 1.3, increase parking capacity, build a new parking lot, initiative 1.3.1 there, design. And I think we're probably still on track with completing the design this December.
I think design will probably be completed by October.
Change that to October.
Yeah.
Okay. 1.4 is construct transit corporate hangar. The first initiative there is to design that hangar with a target to complete the design by next year, calendar year.
Yeah, we have RSNH they only have so many people. I've mentioned this before, you know, and we've got them doing so many things right now, in design work, so. We do want that to happen, but we're just gonna have to get past, you know, we just finished the parking lot, so that's good. We got ramp we want to design, so anyway, so that probably would be somewhere down the road, hopefully sooner than later.
So we just leave it at the 25th.
Yeah,
That
I would
is
say
helpful.
so, yeah.
And just for everybody to see the note there, on this goal we just went through, we intentionally exclude the new tower project since it's not under the airport's control, since it's coordinated with FAA, but.
Yeah, right, yeah, yeah.
Any questions on that goal before we go to number 2? Goal 2 is established, this is about, setting up an airline as well as, air cargo service, to provide greater transportation options for ACC. Strategy 2.1 is, to recruit a scheduled air service, with a numeric target of at least desired 10,000 annual passenger enplanements. And Mike, anything you want to add about these here? I know we kind of talked about this instead of that.
Got a few things in the works. I wanna talk with Beth and Bill and Diane after this meeting, and, nothing I can really elaborate on right now, though.
Okay.
So just stages ongoing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Strategy 2.2 is provide enhanced charter services to increase, enplanements by 50% from current 3,000. Or when you set the goal, 3,000 to, 4,500. That's one that's been achieved already. So the other first initiative there is 2.2.1, increase airport fees to, 400,100. This is one we were discussing in our last meeting about changing the measure of that goal instead of being that, Mike help me here, I think I'm right, looking back, instead of it being that dollar amount, which we said would be difficult to measure specifically. We discussed, using the measure being handling fees only from charter business using the Atlas system.
Yeah,
I think, Devin was gonna work on that,
yeah, we can pull the report off the Atlas system. The Atlas system is our point of sale machine,
so,
and it'd be much easier.
yeah, so would you think that starting with the new year here, calendar, fiscal year, we just started with July, we could start reporting that somewhere in the financials?
Yeah,
Just so they've got-
yeah, we'll get with that. And we'll
Yeah,
get this back
okay.
and make sure. I don't know where he stands on that, but we'll find out. I'm sure we can.
You said, initiative 2.2.1,
Yes,
increase airport fees to 400,100. Is that correct?
that was what we were using, but, we had the discussion in the last meeting that trying to keep up with the fees,
Yeah.
especially associated with charter service, I think was the right thing. It wasn't a good measure, so we felt this would be, this would use the handling fee, right?
Yeah.
So we would be taking out that first statement. there.
Probably more accurate anyway.
Yeah. Let's see. And Mike and Over, we had just had the note there, you may have some additions to this goal at a later time regarding EV charging and using EV vehicles and so forth. But nothing yet, right?
Yeah, nothing yet. Yeah, not yet. That is something that I want RSNH to also work on. And also do a little designing, you know, on that area, for, site prep,
Yeah.
you know, for whatever we want to do with that area.
See, goal 3, expand the general aviation experience. This is largely about customer service. So it ties, we mentioned there with ACC, that ties to it also. Strategy 3.1, identify enhanced facilities, products, services, retain or increase customer base, so forth. Mike, that one, comments,
Self-serve done.
yeah, the self-service.
You know, when the tower comes down, I think I mentioned this, but when the old tower comes down, I'd like to build, a hangar out there, the transient hangar that we have in our SPOS money to do, and then also possibly build a second story with an observation deck with a restaurant on top of that. That's what I'd like to see. But, until that time, really don't have an area for a destination restaurant. But we'll put that on, keep that on.
You want to just hold on that for later then? until-
Yeah.
Is this, excuse me, is this, the right time to maybe do a little bit of that? To discuss the possibility of de-icing services,
De-icing.
de-icing with,
Yeah, that's a whole nother ballgame. Then you get into EPD, EPA and all. That's something that we're asked on occasion but we haven't really fully, looked into the capabilities. I know that the equipment's very expensive.
the, reclamation and all that.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is gonna be a consideration, but I didn't know if it was something that we wanted to pursue and see if it's feasible if we get in the airline. That would be something that would,
Yeah, but
maybe, if we can say we've got it or it's in our plan.
yeah, it probably would come up.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's something we can talk about.
The ability to do it and who does it, so. Is that something that
Yeah,
we would do as board or? is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
something that,
and I guess it would depend on who the airline is and what capabilities they have, but yeah, that's something I guess we can definitely look into now. Yeah, that's good. That's good thought.
So with that one, and, this is actually a good point, because one of the reasons we're doing this is because we were having discussions, we have good ideas or things that we were, and then maybe they got forgotten or whatever, so I don't know if we want to adjust this now for that, or just know that,
Not yet.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
look into it. Let's talk more about it.
okay.
Yeah, in some ways, we can make a private note about, this is where we consider it.
We discussed this last month.
We did.
We.
The de-icing part?
Raise the question.
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, I think we discussed at the time, there's a lot of infrastructure that's got to be put in place.
Yeah, and a
yeah,
lot of regulations.
Yeah.
environmental concerns.
Yeah,
And actually, I wouldn't imagine you could do that without involving the mayor and commission.
no, probably
No.
not.
Yeah,
Because it'd be expensive to.
yeah, and it involves environmental issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a big issue.
I know. Environment is really big on this now. But, when I was involved in the ramp at first,
Yeah.
the icing fluid glycol.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
I mentioned it last month, my son for a while was the environmental coordinator for Delta at Hartsfield, and every time there was any kind of spill or something, he was on call, I can't remember.
Oh,
That is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
They've got a pretty sophisticated system in Hartsfield, not capturing all that stuff.
Really, in the open, days. But so, yeah, the Flint original that's under the airport.
Oh, really? That's it.
That's the sources, man.
Wow. That's something.
Is that something you think an airline might sort of expect or want to see?
In talking to airlines, they never bring that up. What they bring up is the, how cheap can I get the fuel? What kind of incentives do I have? And I've talked to several airlines and none of them really brought up the fact about that.
You know, a consideration occurs to me just while we're talking about that. If Delta were carrying, it wouldn't surprise me to see Delta seasonally put a gas in truck and send a maintenance guy out
Yeah,
when forecast called for, heavy frost.
yeah,
But again, we have to get care of those.
exactly. Yeah, containment area of some sort, yeah.
The de-icing, system, for the airplanes, for the, when they de-ice the airplanes before they go, if they're gonna fly into weather, or if we have weather and then fly into weather and then fly into, cloud layers that can contain ice. I think that would be the reason to have the de-ice, right? Because actually having weather here, we don't have any, do we have any, runway equipment for when we have ice and snow on the runways for landing
No.
and takeoff?
We don't,
Not for snow.
yeah,
If you've got, icy conditions, maybe freezing rain or something like that. And then the ice is really for while it's pretty much for while it's here.
Yeah.
Once it gets thick enough, there are things. There are heating devices.
Right, on some of the front surfaces, or right,
While it's in flight,
mhm,
the ice is.
or while it's on the ground. And I think we'd have to think of that in tandem with having, some treatment capability for the runway.
yeah.
Does the city have any, I mean?
Well,
All of them?
They do, but, like a motor grader, you don't wanna put on a runway. You need something with like rubber, a rubber bottom, but you can buy, you can buy something that you put on the front of your John Deere or something and, move it out to the side,
Mhm.
out of the safety area.
Have you been, since you've been here, have we had any, I mean, we've had a couple of serious icing things since I've lived here.
Yeah.
Twice, I think, since I've lived here, that, when they get the buses in Atlanta, they
Yeah.
get stuck there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
here at the airport, have we had?
In the 7 years I've been here, I think I remember, I know two, but maybe three times where it was like 2 or 3 days, before it all melted away.
Yeah. And we were stuck then probably here, right? So we didn't.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
shut down for about a day and a half, I think that's what it was, probably both times.
That's an issue, I suppose, the number of times, we had given the air.
Yeah,
For example,
justification.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's what people would.
Yeah.
Atlanta didn't have anything except, some snow plows that could be attached to Delta payloaders.
really,
They were the snow removal system
really, yeah.
for the whole airport.
Because there's not a lot there, and it's not worth the money to buy it, it's just gonna sit there most of the year. And a lot of airports, like Savannah or, Valdosta, a lot of the other 139 airports, they really don't have a whole lot. They let Mother Nature take its course. They do have some things, but it's not like a full fleet.
I will say though, that especially places like ours, where they de-ice more often than you think. Sometimes
Yeah.
if you have pretty good frost in the morning or something, sometimes if they're departing early in the morning, they'll run them through the de-icers.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Be nice if we had
They
a
want
big
to
act camp. Yeah.
purposes.
Yeah.
So, on this, the next part, Mike, anything about, let's see, spreads in 3.2, it says study space at, the airport, that's basically about, hangar needs. We had last had design, by the end of this calendar year. You thought you those two items?
Probably be moved down a little bit more. I say RS&H should do this.
Yeah.
And, they're working on other things right now, but, I'd like to get them on that sooner than later.
So we'll just leave it for right now.
Yeah, and the other thing is the funding, so
Yeah.
we're waiting to hear from GDOT, on funding, and then also if I get anything in this spot. Maybe as Beth mentioned, the bonds, but, we do need to build some more,
Yeah,
and we need to. I've got a couple areas where we could build, but it's gonna take a lot of money for the site prep to do on these areas. But anyway, yeah, I would probably move it a little bit.
number 4, inform and connect with the community. This is just about trying to relate with the community more so and also educate the community. A lot of this has to do with educating our community with the values of the airport, and what goes on. So we've had a lot of things, a lot of good things going on with this, but let's see, so strategy 4.1, the strategy there is, things let's see, publish annual report by the ACC deadline each year. Our target's been to do that by May for each year. And then also update the fact sheet by May each year. We've completed that large project recently. And then the next one, 412, develop content management plans. See, Mike, on these next three here, you want to speak anything about those? The one, 412 is ongoing, so is 413, and then the next one about promote airport community engagement, about hosting events and so forth, so you can take it away.
So, the newsletter, social media, Davin and he has a small group that handles that. A lot of times, you know, the line folks or, customer services, that if they see anything, you know, that's worth, putting on our, website or our Facebook page, they'll go ahead and do that. The local partnerships, for economic development agencies, as I said, we have a chamber luncheon, luncheon, or I don't know what they call it, but it's chamber lunch. And it's just the chamber members come to the airport and, you know, I say a few words and then they have a regular meeting, you know. They have lunch. So those are always good. And then, we have various things like that as well through the year. Promote the airport's community engagement, hosting airport and aviation events. We had, just a kind of an internal thing recently, a hot dog, cookout that, was really, it was just kind of a last minute thing and it was just put out there for the tenants and I think they did that. That was while I was on vacation, but I'd like to have more of that. And, you know, it'd be nice to invite the general public, but I think, that's gonna be coming, you know, we're gonna get together once we finish the Bravo project. Because, you know, first it was Alpha project, now it's the Bravo project, but once we get all of that taken care of, we're more open then to invite people out here, you know, for, like, you know, a good, public event, you know, with aircraft and food trucks and, you know, just have a good time.
I had a similar thing at Warrior in September, they had Warrior Kids Day. And we got, some antique airplanes flying.
Yeah.
Have a static display that, the limited amount of tooling. You could go in an old airliner.
Yeah.
But you couldn't go out. Sometimes we came up with a kid who really liked it. And it made a lot of difference in the amount of police complaints we got from the neighborhood.
Really?
Aircraft, because the kids and the parents saw that it was in fact, you know, a good idea to have the airport.
Yeah. Oh,
And we're so close to the community, stepped right in.
yeah, that's a good idea. We are so past due for that. Yeah.
So we're,
Yeah.
did a lot of good.
I can see that happening.
My dogs and face painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a whole list of things like that.
Yep.
We were poised, ready to go. And then COVID came and hit the whole lot.
And then we
But
started,
then with all the construction,
Yeah.
it's sort of stuff, you know, those are on the list lately. Yeah, good ideas. you know.
yeah, we'll start that up again for sure. That's definitely needed bad.
Keith, on that very last one about training and educational partnerships. The last meeting, remember it came up when Davin was talking about, about that UGA engineering
Oh, yeah.
program, and I don't know if that's not.
Is that with RSNH?
It was graduate students who were in the engineering program, and they were working with, I guess it must have been with RSNH.
It was RSNH, right,
You
right.
know, as a perfect example of that. I don't know what you would want to do with that, but, you know, we
That's
certainly have
outreach.
evidence of a partnership there.
Yeah, and they're about to kick off another one too with,
Yeah.
with the Taxaway Bravo
So,
project.
so even if we just make a note of it ourselves, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna happen all the time, but,
No.
but it would certainly fit in one of those categories.
That's just a very interesting partnership.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it basically supersedes, back in the old days, there was all that talk, you know, about trying to get some partnership with the local schools and things. This is a much more concrete, if you like,
Yeah,
example.
yeah, no, that is ongoing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just a part of the ongoing
Yeah.
process. So, but yeah, it is something they're doing.
Next little insert note there is plan a potential future park near Santafield Park, so we kind of got that sort of as a placeholder. I'm not sure what would be the kickoff, for that, but,
Yeah,
does that in any way fall in the Lexington Road project realm, or?
It was at one point, but I think that's kind of fallen off the radar right now, because it was part of the idea to link it to, you know, the trails along it.
Right, yeah, okay, so,
I think we can just leave it there as a sort of a placeholder.
right, yeah, until more
There's
plans.
potential for it,
Right,
yeah.
with the trails.
yeah.
All right, then, see, the next one, goal 5, achieve and maintain financial self-sufficiency to provide relief for taxpayers, so forth. This is basically the financial goals that Mike's and the airport's, financial results are meeting the budgets. They do a budget each year and fiscal year. And starting with, July, Mike, we're on a new budget that you had just completed, budget targets, and just for everybody's FYI. The budget pretty much is spread the annual amount evenly, 12 months, you know, for 12 months, right? So when we get to see financial reports, we'll be able to see that there, so. But you've been exceeding the targets. It looked like that for the year, you were well ahead of the net between the revenue and cost. Your net profit,
yeah,
was, really good, so.
yeah. It's been a good year.
Anything you want to add about, in particular, the study, the rates and fees? That's an annual thing that you're doing still?
Yeah, we went up, this year, and the mayor and commission approved it with our budget, went up on the, some of the fees. Every year we go up by the consumer price index on the fee hangers, so it went up, a couple. And let's see, what else? We did go up a little bit on some of our handling fees as well. And I think we included added a handling fee as well to a category of aircraft that we weren't. I think, you know, there's different sizes of aircraft, and I think one size was kind of, it wasn't on our fee, so we were charging either higher or lower, so we just made it a certain fee, kind of a middle of the road fee. So we'll probably be getting more revenue on that type of aircraft. But other than that, we should see a slight increase in revenue with the increases we've had.
Okay. All right, goal 6, the last one is, create an employee development culture. This is straight from the ACC, goals. And, strategy is to identify areas in need of improvement and critical to operate safely and efficiently. Mike, will just tell us anything,
Let's see,
any updates on a couple of things there, the trainings.
we've got, our firefighters will be going to, something new we found out, from the FAA inspector, that there's it's a consortium that they can go to. It's gonna be up in Connecticut. And it's nothing but art, and they can learn a lot, see a lot of the, products out there, the new stuff that they can use. And really just network. I think that's the biggest thing. It's a network with some of the other firefighters from other airports that they can talk to. One other thing, you know, that just came to mind too, of course, I need to put this on the list as well, is that, you know, we've got some federal money for a new ARF truck. And, we were hoping to purchase it through a certain way, a source well in purchasing, but the FAA, is kind of unsure about Sourcewell and how to go about purchasing something this big, this large, through them. So it was a big hassle, and I just abandoned it. And I decided to go just a regular route, doing an RFP, you know, for this ARF truck. well, we've got the money and FA has the money for us. It's about $1.2 million. The truck we have now is 20 years old and it's like we're piecing it together, basically. It still works, everything works, but it's just harder and harder to keep it top notch operational. So we definitely need it. So we've got RS&H who's, they do all our bidding services for us on all our federal projects. So, the mayor signed a work order for RS&H to do an RFP bidding service on the ARF truck. And so RS&H has that now, and they're working on that. And once they complete the, work with our purchasing, and complete that, it'll have to go out, for advertisement for a 30-day period. And then we'll get, I'm hoping to get Oshkosh and a couple others, interested. And anyway, so that's out there too. And that's not a part of the training, but it is, something that I probably should have brought up earlier, and I'll make sure somebody knows later. But, anyway, we're still in the process of that.
There's something like this consortium. Do they have to pay for that themselves? Do you pay
No,
that?
we'll
Does
pay
the city
for it.
pay for it?
Yeah, the airport grill, it's, there's gonna be two of them, it'll be Alton and Neil.
Mhm.
I was thinking of going, but I'm not gonna go, because it's kind of pricey. The airfare, and then also, I think it's $1,500 per person,
Mhm.
I think. And they do join, there's an association, I think. But FA is gonna be there, and, I guess, yeah.
And then Davin told me that he's gonna be doing that one course on grant assurances in
Yep.
November.
Yeah, he's gonna do that. That's, always good to learn. Of course, I've been dealing with grant assurances for almost 30 years. So, but, they did add a couple more since then, but it is stuff that you guys gotta keep, in your mind when you're running an airport, and a lot of times, I remember when I was working with another county, I think it was 2018, I can't remember, no, it was 2008. Anyway, when everybody was having such a hard time, all the, even, the governments, local governments were having a hard time, and they wanted to take some of our money, from our account, to go into their general fund. And I basically told the finance director, I said, you can't do that, you got grant assurances, you didn't know anything about it. I said, whatever we make on the airport has to stay on the airport. And, he wasn't happy, but, but the thing is, though, the only thing that isn't the case is, property tax, and I brought this up before, is property tax, property tax that we do generate here, which is roughly about $500,000, does go into the general fund.
Yeah.
And, this year in my budget, I did request, let us just have half of that back, so we can use that for our maintenance, for, roofs and anything we need. And so last I saw on a piece of paper that was kind of hidden underneath something else, that was underneath something else, underneath something. I think we got that. But, anyway, so that, at least, that's something that we can use.
A quick question on your efforts to improve their training. So is there, what is the threshold for increasing our rating, our ARF rating for the airport? Will this new truck actually improve that in the training?
Well, that's a good question. The truck that we have now is because of the size of our airport, and even if we had two airlines here, we would only be able to get what we have now. Because what Alton wanted was, right now we have, four-wheel drive, 4 tires. He wanted, 6 tires. And, we put that in there first, and they came back, the FAA said, no, you're not rated for that. Your airport's not big enough for that. We'll never approve that. And so, that just won't fly. The other thing he wanted to do was, have the boom, with the piercing nozzle. And, we were told by our FAA inspector that, another airport, a little bigger than us, wanted it, and they denied it because they're not big enough. And, but our inspector said that she would approve it. But then once she approves, it has to go to Washington, and then who knows? But we're gonna ask for it, but we can't do the 6, unfortunately, the 6.
So the rating that we have for our rating is based on the size of the airport and not on the capabilities of the airport? or is it-
Right. It's the size of your airport, right, yeah, yeah. And we're, if we had two airlines, even 3, it's the size of our airport. The runways, how, with the capacity, I guess, that we can handle, that kind of thing. That's what they, yeah. We tried.
Yeah, that's it's an important, I think it's a really important
I
part
think
of what
so
you do
too.
here.
I think so
It's
too.
great. I still remember we got that old truck.
Oh, yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
an old truck then, it was top of the line.
It was. Rosenbauer, it's like a Mercedes Benz, yeah.
Well, it was old.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And when you look at it, it doesn't look that old. I mean, it's well maintained, really it is, but the wiring, the tubing,
So do
everything.
we keep the old truck or do we sell the old
No,
truck?
we're gonna keep it.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep it as a backup because the local fire department, they're kind of our backup, but they don't have really phone capability, like we need. And so, if for some reason, that truck goes down, we're just out. Yeah. So we really need to keep that.
I think it's it.
Just one question, Mike. When is ACC gonna update their goals? Because this said we're working with this FY 23 to 25.
Yeah, well,
Do we know?
that was known better when Blaine was here. We have a new, manager coming on board
Right.
Monday.
Yeah.
I think I'll know
Okay, we'll
more
wait to ask him.
after his
Okay.
initiation, I guess, and him being here a while and just kind of settled in. It might be another year. Yeah.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where would we have a Senate?
What's that?
Where would we have a Senate?
Where would we have room, in that?
And that.
Right next, yeah, we have 2 beds. Oh, the other thing is that it takes 2 years to build. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I'm trying to hurry up, get things going, on that front, because it's. Yeah, that one, and the thing is, the 2, art folks we have, Alvin and Neil, they are way mechanically inclined. I mean, they are very good at doing things, and they're not rigging it so it's, just to make it work. They're actually putting on quality parts, that are meant for the truck and, but it's getting harder and harder, and more expensive too. So they're saving us a lot of money by keeping it going to where it is.
Thank you, Keith.
Thanks, y'all.
Usual.
Appreciate it.
Very, very diligent. So, probably, got anything else? Ops committee report,
Nothing official from our end.
meeting. But actually, I wanted to ask you, are you on in at home?
I get their notifications, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's, if anything's coming down.
No, I get all the updates that come out.
I look at those two and,
And I read them every time. It's-
just, are you on the NNI system? You probably should sign up, you could be on some, or maybe you.
What is that?
It's the Neighborhood Notification Initiative
Yeah.
for Athens-Clarke County. If you go on and get into the system, then it gives you a whole long list of everything from here to return.
It's a whole menu of things you can pick to get notifications.
What do you want to get notifications for? Accidents, traffic, planning, proposals, building, you name it. It's the Neighborhood Notification Initiative, NNI.
I think it was people like Athens-Clarke County in the.
Yeah. And sometimes I think I'm boxes because I'm always getting things.
Yeah, I get a lot of.
But it is useful, yeah. Beth, are you on that?
No, oh, well, I think I get a lot of notifications, email notifications for all kinds of stuff in the community, so I don't know if it's that system or the old system.
It might be that,
Yeah.
yeah. But It's been on, it's a good thing to be on, what bad thing.
How often do the plan,
For things like planning proposals.
Yes,
because I
exactly.
look at
I get all- I get all-
I get them, I get
Oh,
them,
no, we
yeah.
can
I
see
get them
there's
twice,
nothing
actually.
Nothing for us yet.
I get those too, but it seems to be kind of spaced out from the planning department. Is, do you know, is there a regular
I
schedule?
get something like every week, it seems like.
Okay.
Yeah. You might have to go back and renew some of the boxes you checked, because I found, some of them,
Okay.
they don't, anymore.
I'll get them sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. But I found it's helpful, like Max said, to see, well, if something's coming to us even before Max gets it, just so that we know.
I
Yes.
saw the other day, we're getting a Shake Shack on Alpha Road.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I don't need it, a Shake Shack.
Okay, and then ASD, the
Yeah,
service development.
we'll talk after this meeting.
Yeah. So for general purposes, the update there is none, that we're just poised and waiting. But, now that we've got you guys on board, and I think it really would be helpful to have, even if it's just like a first, informal meeting where we sit down and talk about, well, what are the issues now? What are the real dilemmas? Compared to what they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, et cetera, because they do keep changing. The negotiations are delicate at best,
Yeah.
fragile and delicate.
Yeah.
And it's a landscape that's kind of in flux, and so the contours in the landscape need to be navigated carefully. So, now, have I forgotten anything else? I don't think so. I think that's it for the meeting, for the formal agenda. The next meeting will be August 26th. That'll be the last, I'll be running that meeting, and then the one after that, Keith will be running, because I'll be in Kenya for a month. So he's in my work on that, but I'll be running the next meeting in August. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn this formal meeting. Keith's always good for that. Anybody second that? Okay. All in favor? Anybody object? Stay all night? No? Okay.
No.
All right, the meeting is adjourned. What's the time? 4:49. Thanks very much. That was quite a long meeting.
So we're down.
After these.
So I don't know